Ensure the personalized attention you deserve with a luxury vacation package from Delta Vacations and the Lifestyle Collection featuring luxury. You'll fly in the comfort of first class, receive VIP transfers to a luxurious hotel, and earn up to 7,500 bonus miles in addition to credited flight miles with the Sky Miles program. For reservations and information, visit deltavacations.com or contact a travel agent.
Excited today to be at Peggy Porschen Cakes here in London. She is the rising star for cake design here in London, and we are here today to talk to her about wedding trends and the royal wedding. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much for being here.
Can you tell us a little bit about kind of where you got your start and maybe some background?
My background is originally I'm from Germany, and it's a nation where we eat a lot of cake, so we do definitely know our cake and grew up with cake on every Sunday pretty much. I discovered that baking was a passion of mine when I was 14 years old. That's when I made my first cake, and I got hooked ever since. However, Germany has a very traditional, how would you say, profession in cake making, and I always knew I wanted to be really creative and a bit different. And I used to travel of work as an air hostess that brought me to London and New York, both places where I discovered that cake making is over there on a completely different level. So I kind of was not sure if I should go to London or New York in terms of training. London was a bit closer to home, so that was my first choice. Although I would have loved to come to New York. I mean, there are amazing people in New York to learn from. But about 11 or 12 years ago, I moved to London, and that's where I started my entire training. I did a pastry course in French patisserie. Then I specialized in sugar craft courses and sugar flour making in my evenings. I just pretty much trained and kept working and kept going.
Peggy, I was noticing that you have a collection of books that you've written. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I have written 3 books, and all 3 have been published in America under slightly different titles, so I need to remember the correct titles. The first one is called Pretty Party Cakes, the next one is called Beautiful Cakes in the US, and the third one, Spectacular Cakes. And
it gets better and better.
And they have been really, really popular. I'm very lucky so far. I've sold over 200,000 books worldwide, which for a niche market in the cake decorating world is pretty good, I think.
I think so.
And what has happened, the books have really created a whole new generation, or have helped, amongst other books of course, helped to create this whole new generation of cake makers. Sugarcraft and cake making about 10-15 years ago was slightly sort of dying out, I think, and it's just getting bigger and bigger right now. So many young women changing their careers and want to do something creative. And also it has sparked a huge demand for courses. So I actually started teaching about 2 years ago, and now I have built up a little academy called the Peggy Porschen Academy, where I teach cake decorating and baking, and that's sort of the new baby of the company. That's sort of the next expansion to the business.
That's wonderful.
And I get students from all over the world. People have traveled from as far as South Africa, from Asia, Middle East. America so far not yet,
okay.
That would be great.
We'll work on that.
But I think it's a really great opportunity as a cake designer to pass on my style of decorating, but also to give tips about the actual career of being a cake decorator. Because most courses or colleges are taught by sort of hobby cake makers who actually don't sell to customers. But I'm right in the middle of it all, so I can speak from my mistakes, my experiences. I can sort of give them advice of how to deal with the industry, how to work with venues, what brands they're looking for. So it's really nice to be able to do that, because when I came into the business about 10 years ago, there was nothing out there. It was so hard for me to find a place to learn from, and as I started up on my own and learned on my own, because there wasn't anywhere to go. And with the Academy, I'm hoping to reach out to a wider audience and also internationally to other nations, and offer a career diploma eventually for cake design.
Well, your shop is very unique. It's a little tea room up front with all the different cakes and everything. It's just adorable. And I mean, when we came down the street, we were like, there it is. You know, we saw it.
It's sort of, I guess it's a girl's dream come true, really. I always knew I would have loved to have my own shop one day. But being in the cake business is very difficult, because it's actually very time consuming what I do. So it was quite a big and different step to then go into retail and having a cafe on the side as well.
Right.
But I felt after 7 years in the bespoke cake trade, I felt I had enough experience to make the next step and add the retail and fresh cake side to the business, and it has worked really well so far. It's a lovely addition, because I can now offer yummy cakes to people on an everyday basis. You don't need a big minimum spend to have a cake from me.
Right, we call them dessert cakes.
Yes,
in the United States, and that's really how Sylvia Weinstock does that all the time, which we were just surprised when she told us that she does a lot of orders just for dessert cakes.
It's amazing.
Because she thinks, why can't we all have wedding cake every day?
Yeah.
Every day's a celebration, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Can you talk to us a little bit about trends that you're seeing in the UK for wedding cakes?
I think in terms of cake trends in the UK, it has definitely gone back to the traditional tiered cake. The American stacked cake is sort of the most popular style of cake in the recent years. There has been a transformation from the sort of separated pillared version that's probably seen as the traditional English wedding cake. It sort of moved into cupcakes and miniature cakes for a little while, and now it's all going into stacked traditional bridal white blush pinks, pastel colors, floral but also lace detail is very popular. Incorporating heirlooms, family heirlooms like brooches is very popular. And generally romantic, elegant, and sort of understated. Less is more, but still creating wow factor through the sort of skill and details on the cake. Less is more, but still creating a wow factor through the sort of skill and details on the cake.
Well, your detail is just amazing.
Thank you.
Just we noticed that when we came in, just the flowers and just everything is so precise.
I think that's I think I'm known for being a perfectionist, and I'm quite tough on my staff as well. We have a team of 6 cake makers and pastry chefs downstairs, and I can spot a little crack from a mile away.
That's what makes you so good.
Exactly.
It's been really great to see all the different types of sugar flowers that you're capable of doing. Of course, we've always seen the roses and like the magnolias, but it looked like I had seen poppies and lily of the valley.
Anemones, I should say. Dahlias. What else have we got? Stephanotis. My mom used to be a florist in her younger years, and my dad is a passionate hobby gardener, so I guess I have the love for flowers sort of came with the family. So,
they're so lifelike.
Yes.
Work is just stunning.
What I do when I research inspiration for floral cakes, I actually just take the real flowers, or I print images of real life flowers and try to imitate those. And I had my basic training in sugar flower making, but more or less everything else I just improvise. And I think that's what makes them a little bit different, because if you stick to books all the time, your flowers or your work ends up looking the same like everyone else's. And I'd rather look at the real flower and try to work it out my own way.
That's brilliant.
Now, your miniature cakes, that's really popular?
Cupcakes, yeah, the cupcakes are actually not so trendy anymore for weddings, because you get them everywhere now. This trend of cupcake shops has really come over from the US now. We've got probably 10, 12 more cupcake shops in London now.
Wow.
So it's not that special. It's still great for christening parties or country-style weddings or cocktail parties. But the iced miniature cake, which is this one, so it's basically a layered wedding cake inside, if you look at this piece of cake, for example, it still has the layers of sponge and jams in the middle, but then each portion is individually iced and decorated. And the good thing about these, you can give them away as a favor at the same time, so it justifies the cost a little bit as well.
Now, is that something that's really popular right now, or has that been popular? Is it post?
Well, it's still popular, but it has had its peak probably about 2 years ago, because brides usually like to look for something that's new and different that hasn't been at another wedding before. I think wedding tradition in England is very big, and I think every year a young woman would go to probably 5 or 6 weddings at least, and the competition is very big to bring something different every time. And I think that miniature cakes give you more opportunity to be more creative and a bit different.
Right.
Because we don't just do one design, we mix different designs as well and have lots of colours and themes going on.
That's great. I'm curious because we recognize the fruit cake as kind of the dominant, or traditionally the dominant cake flavor for UK wedding cakes, which is very different from our cakes. Yeah. But this looks very American to me. Can you tell us about kind of the transition of flavors and what brides are doing now in the UK versus maybe what they have done in the past with the traditional fruit cake?
The English fruit cake is a traditional wedding cake, and still brides try to incorporate it at least in the top tier usually, because traditionally the top tier is kept as a christening cake and is a sign of good luck. Also, English brides are always very concerned to satisfy all their family members, to keep everybody happy, and usually the older family members, like grandparents, really appreciate a good piece of fruitcake. However, London is such a cosmopolitan city, there's so many different culinary influences happening, so many different nationalities coming in, and I think it really has influenced the cake world as well. There's French patisserie, croquembouches, larderie with macaroons. In terms of flavor, you really want something different. My background from Germany, I'm used to lots of different fillings and flavors in cakes, so I try to bring that in a little bit. The American cakes, I think, love a lot of buttercream and thick layers of buttercream. We like thin layers of buttercream and lots of jam fillings. We like sort of punchy, fruity flavors. And if I can show you a few, this is our classic Victoria sponge, which is the vanilla sponge with vanilla buttercream and raspberry jam. Very simple, but just really yummy and juicy. So it's an all-time popular, really. This one is one of my own creations. It's the lemon-limoncello cake. It is layered with our own lemon and limoncello jelly and buttercream. It's very light and zesty. And then this one is actually my favorite cake of the moment. It's orange sponge, English marmalade and contro, dark chocolate ganache, and yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah.
Light on the calories.
Really yummy. It reminds me a little bit on a Jaffa cake. I like to play, I have also a pastry chef background, so sometimes I like to play a little bit on the dessert idea. We have, for example, a banoffee cupcake inspired by a banoffee cake, so it's coming from there a little bit. What else have we got? Also very popular, a white chocolate and passion fruit cake. Really punchy passion fruit jam in the middle, very velvety smooth white chocolate cake, slightly sweet, but then the punchiness of the passion fruit really balances, sort of cuts through that richness. I wonder if you'd like to try some.
Yeah, of course we would.
Pass some fork over.
Start with the first one.
Now, what is the outside? Is that fondant or?
A dark chocolate ganache.
So it's
made
not.
with Belgian chocolate.
What about the others? Is that?
These are all buttercreams.
Okay.
So this again.
It's our Victoria sponge. Very typically English. If you think of English summer weddings in the garden, that's perfect.
Oh,
It's very
delicious.
We also use always the real thing, real flavors, like the real vanilla pot, the real zest. I never use aromas. Also our jams are all handmade for us, according to our own recipes. So everything is completely developed.
That is
it's
wonderful.
simple but traditional, but I don't think it needs anything else.
No,
it's just
absolutely not.
Yeah, try with the chocolate.
Yes.
Is that powdered chocolate stencil on the top?
Yes, exactly. A stencil from America.
I love it.
It just melts in your mouth. It's just amazing. We could eat this all day.
Yes. I'll try this one too. And Peggy, this one was?
A white chocolate and passion fruit cake.
I love the fruit fillings.
Yeah, me too. Thing is that in the UK we say that with our sugar paste icing, that once the cake is covered, we can't put it in the fridge. So it needs to be, the shelf life needs to last for roughly a week at least to allow for decoration and then taken to the venue and being used for the guests. Therefore, we can't really use fresh cream or fresh fruit. And also our sponge base has to be fairly sturdy as well. So we need to find the right balance between a really moist sponge, but one that isn't too squishy and,
not so
crumbly. So that's a bit of a challenge because as the taste changes towards more sort of a European or continental flavors, we still need to maintain stability in terms of decoration.
Those are very good.
Yeah, most excellent actually.
And this is actually the most popular one in terms of our customers. I'd say that's our lemon limoncello cake.
What I notice about your cakes is that when you bring them to your mouth, you can smell the cake. So you're already, your anticipation is even heightened even more by the smell, because you know it's going to be good when it hits the palate. Those are amazing.
Yeah, I'm speechless.
So how does it compare to American cakes?
They taste very fresh.
Yeah.
Much fuller profile.
These taste fresher. Which ones taste fresh?
Yours. Yeah, we really have a fuller flavor profile, and I think it has to do with the ingredients that you're using.
Right.
We use pure butter for everything and our buttercreams as well. And I think also it's really important that you do choose top ingredients. I think compromising on ingredients in order to save money or anything like that is never worth it. No.
Now, does everyone have their own secret recipe for their fruitcake? Is that?
I probably think so. Yes.
And do they all have like a rum or something in them?
You could use. Everybody does Arthur's whiskey. Some people use. Most people use brandy. Rum is a possibility. I think a lot of, or very popular is also Jamaican type fruitcake, which is much wetter and moister and very boozy as well.
So this is what they're having tomorrow?
Yeah, most likely. Unfortunately not ours, but yes.
What do you think the trends are going to be after their wedding for wedding cakes? Do you think that?
I think potentially if the cake isn't too specific or too traditional, then I think that we definitely set a big trend. In recent years, when you look back at royal wedding cakes, I think that in terms of the time and skill that went into cakes was a very specific skill that you wouldn't find on the high street. It was literally old school sugar crafters who would probably need a month or longer to make a cake like that. So it's something that would be unaffordable and also very rare to find. But considering it seems like they're doing a lot of very contemporary things at the wedding, I think there could be definitely. I mean, I'm really excited to see the cake. I can't wait. So we had our thoughts, and we are also really, we're all sort of in this royal regal moment, and everything I'm thinking of at the moment is sort of very regal, so I think it will definitely influence me in terms of what I come up with next.
Well, we can't wait for her to cut the cake tomorrow. It's going to be a joyous occasion, I think, for everybody in the world when they see that happen. We just want to thank you so much for having us today. It's been wonderful meeting you, and your cakes are amazing.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to have you.
Thanks very much.